Hey everyone, can you hear me? It looks like it's working. The other day, whenever whenever I was like not making a sound and I was like, why can nobody hear me? Why can nobody hear me? I'll go to my phone. I switched over to my phone. It's because in StreamYard you have to put yourself on stage, right? Or else you're not there to be heard. And I didn't put myself on the stage. So I was like, why can't I not be heard? Yeah, that's why. Loud and clear. Good, yay. Oh, and the first time, well, the couple times ago when I went live, I thought I plugged my microphone in, but I'd plugged something else in that was completely unrelated. And here I was thinking I was doing such a great job. I was so proud of myself. Yeah, I remember to, and I didn't even have plugged in. I had something else plugged in. Yep, that is the truth. So how's everybody doing? Y'all, it is gorgeous here today. It's so weird. Someone said in my chat that they're from Texas too, and they're like, you know how it is, Southern Mutton. You go outside one day wearing shorts, and then you have to prepare for the freeze within 2 hours. You go back out there, and it's so wild. Like it was cold. It's been cold in the mornings, but like this morning, it was just so foggy, which makes me so nervous because my husband drives so far. His commute is about an hour and 20 minutes each way. And hey, Gingerly. Hey, Goose, Blake, J. Marie, Mama T. Good to see all of you. It's not cold there either. It's nice, Mama T. You got how many feet of snow recently? Mama T, where you're at? It's 51. Feels like spring. Yeah. Oh, I was out. Hey, Kitten on the Keys. I was outside just a while ago trying to just let the dogs out and enjoy the weather. So I'll share some pictures. Here's my little Barnaby. It's windy. You can see we've had a drought this year. Look at that. That's our it's so I don't even know when we cut last because that's all hay. Like we have we farm hay or whatnot. But yeah, that's my little boy. Oh, and here he is with his sissy. Yep. That's how beautiful it is out today. It was so pretty. So I went out there for a little bit um to let them kind of do their thing and enjoy the sun because Bella, the dog there on the right, she loves to be outside. So hey, running gray wolf. Yeah, so y'all, we have we have some stuff to talk about. Um and it is, I'll be honest when I know they're so cute. Thank you, Blake. Of course I'm gonna say, of course they are, they're mine. But that's how gorgeous it is out today. But again, you can see the wind here, it's blowing his little ears. Um we're up on a hill, and so we do get a lot of wind up here. Like when it's a windy day, typically, like it's super windy up here. Like there's times I'll look at our little weather thing and it's saying 22-mile-an-hour winds, 25-mile-an-hour winds, and that's an average day. It's crazy. Um, it is. How's it where you're at, Running Gray Wolf? Is it pretty there as well? You have a high wind warning, Mama T. Oh no. So you have all your power, like all your power lines, Mama T, are above ground. They're not underground either. Yes, Goose. You can come help me with everything around here. As a farmhand. We don't have too much. So one of the times I went live recently, there was a picture that I had like AI one. Let me see if I can find it. Um, and it had a tractor, and I was like, "Oh, I'll make this wish." Let me see if I have it. Did I take the tractor one off? I might have. Hold on, let me take him off. Hold on. I think I did. There was one that had a tractor in the background. Oh, here it is. And I was like, "Hey, everybody, make a wish for my husband for a tractor." And I was like, "You know what? If he needs a tractor, why aren't we just gonna go buy a new tractor?" So I was in the big city and I was driving back, and as you're kind of getting close to our town, there was a tractor dealership. So I just went in there to talk to them and said, what are your financing options right now? And they were like 0%. I'm like, what? So I called my husband. I was like, hey, we're just gonna buy a tractor. And he's like, what are you talking about? So I got all this, stuff and brought it back to him. And I said, this is this one brand. Let's go look at these others or whatnot. So that's happening this week, which is, he needs it. The man deserves more than anything. He's one of these that he just wants me to have everything. And I'm like, I don't need anything. And it's not like, it can't happen. So especially at 0%, why not? So anyways, we don't have to pray. Y'all don't have to keep saying that about a tractor, but it is. Yeah, we have 4 dogs. Oh, y'all, the other day, I'll say this and then we'll get started. The other day, so I have this little, like when you pull up on our property, you come up on a driveway and you have to go a little bit on the driveway, and then it veers off up to our house. You go up like a gravel road, right? Well, where it turns off from when the driveway hits that gravel road, I have a big box down there for like UPS and Amazon and all that to put everything in there because we have dogs, and it just becomes a nightmare. So it's pretty far down there. I mean, it's a walk, right? So I go down there and I walk down there a bit. I knew that I had a bunch of stuff from Amazon or just everywhere, actually, so I have this little wagon, my little gorilla cart wagon, and I go walking down there, and it's me and the 3 dogs are off out in the field sniffing something, chasing something, and I've got my 2 goats following me. And yeah, 0% financing is a miracle. And for 72 months running Grey Wolf, it's crazy. So I'm walking down there and I open up the thing and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm putting all the stuff in my wagon, and shit's falling all over the place. And I'm like underneath my arm, and this car pulls up to deliver something else. Something we got for the baby and the family. And I'm like, okay. So I've got these 2 goats standing at me. I was just starting to walk off and pull my little wagon. I've got these goats with me, and they love cardboard, y'all. And they're trying to eat everything on my cart. And I'm like trying to shoo them away. This guy's trying to hand me something. I'm looking at him, I go, you got about 10 seconds for the dogs get here. So you might want to hand it to me and get back in your car. So he's looking at me with his eyes wide open because the dogs, all 3 are just charging them, the big dogs, charging towards him. So he jumps in, he shuts the door, and dogs are kind of circling his truck. Goats are trying to eat everything. And this guy is looking at me, and I'm just thinking to myself, this guy's probably like, what the fuck did I just walk into? So he backs out. My dogs come with me. I'm walking along. The goats are just tearing shit off my cart because they love to eat cardboard. And so I'm having to shoo them off. And I'm pulling it. Stuff's falling off. That guy was sitting down at the end of our driveway. I know he was watching until I got up to the house. It was hilarious. One day we had ordered a new dishwasher, and I knew that it was delivered, and I was in town and I was coming back, and it was like an hour after it was delivered. I pull up, they'd put it on our carport. I told them just put it on the carport because my husband installs everything. And so I get back and I look, and the whole side of the box of this huge box, obviously, because it was a dishwasher we had to replace. The whole side of the box was gone because the goats ate it. So it's crazy. So yeah, Goose, you can come be the goat handler. How about that? I need a side by side. Put my dogs in there. So anyways, so yesterday I was out and I had gotten hey Bark Bunch. Nope, you didn't miss any of the KJ news. We just started. And I was just talking about my goats and animals. We haven't even started the filings yet. I was just about to talk about it. So I had seen a comment come across, like pop up from my YouTube studio, and I don't always pay attention to them, but it was Unitopia, I believe, if they're in here, and it said new filings, and I'm like, what? Because normally people will DM me, so they had just come up. So I'm like, oh gosh, I was in line at the pharmacy in the drive-through. So I go sit in my car and I'm reading and I see what's filed, and I'm like, oh shit. So then I start getting messages. People are freaking out, going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So there were two orders, 2 rulings posted yesterday. And remember what we've been waiting for, right? All the filings that we went over the other day, that hearing is not until December 31st. Okay. That's for, 7M is filing for sanctions, saying Katie Joy is in contempt, etc. Katie Joy is filing for sanctions, saying that 7M is in contempt because they haven't provided something, which they since have. And then also Katie Joy is wanting to have the attorney's eyes only stipulation removed. So that all is what is going to be heard on December 31st. What was filed and heard on October 17th was Katie Joy's motion to reconsider the summary judgment ruling, along with the 7M's motion for temporary injunction, right? And Katie Joy said some horrible things. Horrible. But look, y'all, I mean, I wasn't surprised to see yesterday that that motion was denied. Okay. So is that a win for Katie? Yeah. I mean, but is it unusual? No. No, it's, people are like, gosh, just get her to shut up. But the crazy thing is, y'all, she has not said a word. And what happened yesterday with the order on the motion to reconsider, it was granted in part and denied in part. And the way that it looks, I'm going to show y'all that first. The way that it looks like Katie had a big win. And I'm like, oh, because I went to look at the actual order first. And I'm like, no, tell me it's not so. And I'm kind of like, I was like, man, this sucks. So I thought she's going to go live and talk about it. So when I start to read the order, then I start to see, okay, wait, this is not a win for Katie. Although it looks like it at first glance. If you look at the order, it looks like it. She hasn't said anything about it yet. No, Gingerly. I know it's not like her. So we're all sitting, we're all kind of sitting back going, okay, when is she going to say something? Is she going to say something? And I'm like, look, Friday, usually it takes her a couple days. She stews in it, right? And then she can't hold it in anymore and she burst. But that's what got her in trouble and got her into this mess. Maybe her attorney was able to finally say something to her, like, look, you've got to calm down, or maybe something was said, but she doesn't listen to anybody. Goose says, I'm floored that the 7M motion was denied. I'm shocked KJ isn't gloating. Perhaps her lawyers told her, hey, I know, you need to stop. But y'all, it's not surprising that it was denied. One of the reasons is because there was already one filed, and it was denied. That was in February of 23. That was denied, right? So it sucks, right? It sucks. But the judge basically said, I'm not even going to really show that order, because the other one is 41 pages that we're really going to talk about. But yeah, 7M's motion for temporary injunction was denied. And basically she was saying, that she can't stop Katie Joy from talking. I mean, that completely takes away her First Amendment right. And it does. It does. It's infuriating. I can't even imagine what Robert Shin's feeling, and Miranda and James, right? They're the ones that have really hurt through this publicly, like as far as like social media and all that. But, she's basically saying that, prior restraint, like she cannot make her stop talking prior to or before a judgment, right? And this is still going to trial, y'all. This is. Yeah, it's shocking to some degree that maybe there wasn't the stipulation, because 7M did say, like, well, if it can't be granted fully, can it be granted in part, where if Katie Joy is going to talk about 7M or any of the plaintiffs, that she must include a statement that says, I'm in current litigation with them. And basically the order was like, well, the court doesn't really see how they could control that. Like it wasn't like 7M didn't request it very clearly or fully. And so the judge is like, you didn't really kind of argue that. So I don't know how the court can fulfill that. So basically the court is said, really in all reality, when it comes to things like this, when it comes to an injunction like this, she would have to be like threatening national security or something almost, I mean, she's done some bad shit, but not to the level to where this judge feels that she could take away her free speech. Because if she did, and Katie Joy fought back, it could be a big deal. And the judge is like, look, I can't do this before a ruling. So it's definitely going to trial. So I'm going to show y'all if I can get myself together here and do it correctly. I think I've got it figured out now with this crappy ass laptop. So let me change screens here. All right, let me share this screen with you. And this is the order on the motion to reconsider. And hold on. I got to remember how to do this. Hold on. To where I can still see it too. That's not it. Hold on. Let me see. Of course, I can't figure it out now. I will, though. Yeah, remember, it does seem like yesterday, doesn't it, Mama T, where Katie's like, oh, this is frivolous. It's going to be dropped. It has gone on. I mean, in April, it's going to be 4 years. Isn't the December court date for some other motion? Yeah. So December 31st, the hearing on December 1st is for the two motions that we went over last time, which was what both 7M filed, basically saying that they want sanctions because Katie Joy hasn't filed certain stuff. And then Katie Joy also said that they're seeking sanctions because 7M hasn't filed, provided certain discovery, which they have since then. Then they said, oh, well, they haven't provided, the monetization details for their social media. And 7M is like, you never asked for that in discovery. That's not what you asked for in detail. So there's kind of that argument. So, and then also Katie Joy is asking for all of the depositions to be made public, which is just wild. And then also that that the attorney's eyes only be removed so she can see everything. So, hold on, let me fix this. Let me figure out how I'm supposed to do this again, because now I forget. Is that any better? Can y'all see that? Does it need, like, try to make it any bigger? Let me see. Let's see, is that better? Now I just have to remember how to that ain't it. Y'all. So, okay, I'm just gonna have to do this way for now. So I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom. It's 41 pages. And you'll see my color coding. There's blue, and then there's this gold color. Okay, that's gonna mean something. I did it all to where we can go through this pretty quickly. But let me show you why I was freaked out yesterday, okay? Because the very first thing I did was I read the first page, and I was like, I got to go down to the order and see what part was granted and what was denied. So you see all these numbers here, right? Okay, so basically it says plaintiff's motion for reconsideration is granted in part. Summary judgment is granted in favor of defendants. Okay, so granted in favor of Katie on count 1, which count 1 is defamation. Remember, there's 8 counts in this case. With respect to stated numbers. Okay. And then there's like, I think I counted this, and it's like 32 statements. And I'm like, holy shit, this judge just threw out 32 statements. Now, granted, there are 13 of those were the judge is what she said in the original summary judgment. She's like, okay, I can't access these. So, this they can't, they just kind of have to be tossed, so to speak, right? Um, but the reason why was because the links didn't work and the judge couldn't access them, but they're still up on her because I cross-referenced them all. They're all still up on her Instagram, surprisingly. So I didn't know if they'd be able to amend that. But here's the big kicker, y'all. Okay, so I'm freaking out because I'm seeing all these numbers going, no way. She's going to really go and brag about how this is a win, because it looks like the judge is basically saying, with all these numbers, that, yeah, I agree with all of these statements, that they are not, they don't appear defamatory. Okay. Now, keep in mind too, y'all, that the judge here is not to decide truth or falsity, right? Like, the judge isn't really to decide, is Katie Joy telling the truth, stating this as an opinion, or is she stating it as a fact, right? Because this is all about fact versus opinion, especially in Katie Joy's motion to reconsider, right? So the judge isn't really making the decision of, okay, this is defamatory or it's not. I mean, the judge is saying, okay, well, any reasonable person would think that what Katie Joy said, she stated as a fact, and they're going to take it as a fact. Therefore, it needs to go to a jury. But if the judge is like, you know what, this really is an opinion, this statement says that this to me says it's an opinion. Hey, camping mama. Then the judge, is going to say, okay, that this is appropriate for summary judgment, meaning, okay, I'm going to grant this, and this statement won't go to trial. Okay, because keep in mind, there's 83 statements that 7M is saying is defamatory. And of course, Katie Joy argued it and said, no, this is, it's satire, it's opinion. I forget the other word. We'll see it in a second. I forget everything that she said. That was kind of the argument. And so when the judge had when Katie was granted the opportunity to file a motion to reconsider, then that's what she did. And here's the finding of facts. This is just reiterating this case. It says, in essence, plaintiffs contend that defendants reporting on them has lowered their estimation in the community to the extent that they have lost contracts and brand deals, resulting in significant financial loss. Plaintiffs assert that the information reported by defendants is false, and that Ms. Paulson either knew it was false or acted in reckless disregard of its truth or falsity. And remember, in order to prove defamation, you have to prove that she did this with actual malice. Okay, so there's 85 statements. So defendant's amended complaint contains 85 statements they describe as false. I'm going to try to make this even bigger. Can I do a custom number up here? No. That's ridiculous. Why can't I do 300%? Anyone? I can't. Why can't I type in a number? That's bullshit. Okay, well, I can't. I was trying to make it bigger so I could read it on the screen, because now I can't remember how I... Oh, you know what? Okay, so I'll just keep doing it this way. So basically, the judge says, okay, so the amended complaint contains 85 statements. Remember, when you say amended, it's amended because they added, it was 2 days later, Robert Shin and 7M added Miranda and James Derrick to the lawsuit. So that was the last amended complaint, right? Keep that in mind. So on June 23rd, 2025, the court entered an order denying plaintiff's motion for summary judgment and granting in part, okay, considering these 85 statements that 7M states is false. And these are the 13 statements that the judge is like, look, I cannot access these statements, so therefore I cannot make any kind of decision on it. Therefore, they kind of have to be tossed, right? So Katie Joy went straight to, social media. It's like, I won. This is a huge win. I'm sure y'all remember that. I should have put the images. I can get them, but it'll take a while. And this is going to take a while as it goes. Right. So, Katie Joy's like, I won, but she didn't. It's not even a win. And not only that, if they were allowed to amend it, they would be able to go back and give the judge the actual links at work, because those are all still accessible. They're all still accessible on her screen. How great would it be if, Goose, hang on to that thought about the Clippers, because I don't think that statement's going to trial. I can't remember. There's a few that have been booted, okay? But they're not, it's nothing that I'm like, oh man. There's a couple where I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks, but nothing like, oh shit. Like, but you're gonna see the big point in this, okay? You're gonna see the big plus in this, and why I got way too much joy out of reading this yesterday, y'all. I really kind of did. After I started reading it, you'll see a pattern, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a good pattern. This is not good for Katie Joy. This is still going to trial. And even if it's set like it is, right, with what I just showed you at the very end of this motion, right, where it's like 33 statements here, where it looks like it was, that she granted in favor on count one, which is the defamation claim, okay? These like 32, 33 statements, whatever it is. It looks like, holy cow, they're booting all of that. So now there's only going to be like 30 that go, but even then that's kind of strong, right? Because then there's still 30 plus statements that will make it to trial, of these statements that, that 7M claims is defamatory, right? So it still wouldn't have been that bad, but I'm going to show you the part I got to, and I'm like, oh, okay. Wow. And I'm shocked, y'all. Okay. I was pretty shocked. But again, I have to remind everybody, I'm not an attorney, right? I've never claimed to be, never said I was. Well, I was a paralegal. I worked as a paralegal for a few years. Yes. Hi, sis Kate. So I have some basic knowledge, but I certainly don't have the level of expertise as an attorney. And in my comments yesterday, whenever I post about this, just as a post, Leanne, is it Newton? Regardless, she's an attorney that has had beef with Katie Joy. Imagine that. So she was, Leanne, I believe, is in the UK. She was covering the Blake Lively stuff, all the filings. And of course, Katie Joy had to say she was wrong and she doesn't know because she's not licensed in the US. She's the UK. She doesn't know shit. At least she's an attorney, okay? Or as they say over there, a solicitor, right? So anyway, she was in my comments and she was like, yeah, definitely, this is not a win for Katie. And I'm like, thank you. And then as I was reading it, I went back and she had said the same thing. She was like, look, this just looks like basically kind of what, after you read through this, it's like 7M is almost like making it, I'm sorry, the judge is almost making this like easier for 7M to make this even more shiny for the judge, for the jury, right? I'm not saying the judge is doing that intentionally. Don't mix my words there. But Katie Joy filed this motion to reconsider. I'm going to show you one thing the judge said about that, because hey Cheryl, how are you doing? Good to see you, my friend. All of you, everybody. Also, if I have not addressed you because I didn't see your name, it's just because I didn't see you. It's not because I don't care about you. I love each and every one of y'all. So what she said made me feel so much better, because listen, y'all, she is an attorney and she's been covering the Blake Lively lawsuit and stuff. Okay. So she said if she has time, she will either make a post about it. She's on X. I don't know if anybody in here follows her. If they do, if you know her name on X, please let me know. But her name is Leanne Newton here on YouTube. I was going to show the comment, but I didn't save it on here. If I get around to, you do, CSK, do you know her name on X? So I hate calling it X. It's so weird. On Twitter. Anyways, so she said she might do a post or even a video. She Katie Joy went after her, and she just kind of backed away, like, okay, you're a nut job. But it got to the point where Katie was doing Katie stuff. Katie was Katie, and Leanne wasn't taking it. So on June 25th, on June 23rd, okay, it was when the order happened. On June 25th, that's when Katie Joy asked, the court, can we please file a motion to reconsider? Quote, and the judge says here, quote unquote, based on clear legal errors involving fundamental First Amendment protections that are dispositive of plaintiff's claims. Okay. On July 10th, the court entered an order granting defendants' request to file that motion, right? And she explains why, but we're not really going to kind of get into that because, so the conclusion of law in support of their motion to reconsider, Katie argues that the court did not determine whether each allegation contains statements of fact or opinion as required under the First Amendment. So the judge is like, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go through each one and see what you say. Katie argues that the statements made by herself are non-actionable opinion, theoretical hyperbole, or subjective interpretation of disclosed facts. Okay. So the judge is like, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to see if a reasonable mind could see that this is, stated as fact, or would they see it as an opinion? If they see it as an opinion, okay, well then, yeah, we'll toss that statement too, right? Jury won't see it. This is just kind of explaining the law of a motion to reconsider. Now, this is what the judge said, and this got me. Because one thing that was said a lot, hey, Captain KD. One thing that was said a lot was that Katie Joy came in with this motion to reconsider, basically re-arguing her entire first motion. And that is a no-no. Okay. That is a no-no. That is not what that is for. Right. And, we're all kind of like, she's just re-arguing this. And listen to what the judge says in this order. The court finds that Katie's motion to reconsider borders on presenting arguments that were available in regard to defendant's prior motion, but were simply not made. Defendants so Katie Joy bases almost the entirety of their motion to reconsider on their argument that the statements made by her were non-actionable opinion. In that regard, they provide a detailed discussion and analysis on the issue of whether a statement is fact or opinion. This argument was not presented in defendant's 69-page summary judgment motion. Keep in mind, too, 69 pages. There's a limit for a summary judgment motion. Katie Joy went well beyond it. I think it's 32 pages, if I remember correctly. They filed 69. Now, they might have filed something with the judge to get an okay for that. Like the judge said, we can't do all this in 32 pages. Can you grant us, that we can file one that's longer? But the judge points it out here, right? That this argument was not presented in Katie's 69-page judgment, her original summary judgment motion, with the exception of conclusory statements. If I mispronounce a word, y'all, please don't be grammar police. I know I lost my shit on that the other day. I'll come back, explain that one in a second. Of statements that Ms. Paulson's reporting consisted solely of statements of non-actual opinion. At best, the arguments made by Katie's motion to reconsider are expansions of their previous argument, and Katie Joy is walking a fine line here between presenting argument that was available when the prior motion was considered and expanding on previous argument. The judge is making it known, like, this was really not even a great motion. Okay. But I'm going to take a look at the one thing that you argued in this. The one thing that you argued is that I did not look at this properly according to First Amendment, laws, and I need to go back and reevaluate these statements and decide, whether, this is appropriate for summary judgment or not, right? And if it's not appropriate for summary judgment, then it's going to the jury to decide. If it is appropriate for summary judgment, then okay. So we're going to see the ones that there's three things here. Okay, it looks like there's only two. What it looks like, y'all, at the face of this, is it looks like the judge said, that she found a lot of these as appropriate for summary judgment. Okay, like all those ones that we saw at the end, like in the order, where I freaked out. I'm like, oh my God, the judge, like, what? All of these have been tossed? Okay, no, that's why I freaked out. It looks like the judge basically was like, all of these, I'm, basically granting summary judgment. They're appropriate, on this allegation for summary judgment. Therefore, these statements are not going to a jury. And that's why I was like, what the hell? Okay. But really what it comes down to is three things. So I'm going to show you kind of how I was reading through this, right? Okay. This is just kind of the judge. Nonetheless, the court finds that it is in the best interest of the litigants and the court to address these issues in accordance with, so basically we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this, right? And then here's defamation pleading requirements, right? We've gone over that so many times in different videos about what is required to, for a defamation case. Expressions of opinion, rhetoric, and figurative language are generally not actionable if, in context, the audience would understand the statement is not a representation of fact. Okay. All right. So we got that kind of down. So we're just going through about, again, actual malice. You have to prove actual malice in defamation case when it comes to if the plaintiffs are public figures. Again, as a reminder, actual malice may be shown if the statement, that Katie made is fabricated by the defendant, is the product of her imagination, or is based wholly on an unverified anonymous telephone call, or if the publisher's allegations are so inherently improbable that only a reckless man would have put them in circulation. Interesting, huh? I'm not looking at chat right now because I'm having to kind of go over into a second screen to read, because I said, oh, I've got this all figured out. Now I can't figure it out. But that's all right. That's all right, right? Okay. All right. So then it gets down to the very first statement. Okay. Statement number one. So this is the first statement that this judge was going to go back and reevaluate. Now, there's a lot of them, y'all. So I'm going to go through this fast because I color coded it. But the very first ones we're going to go through at a decent pace so everybody can kind of get an idea of what you're surprised KJ hasn't thrown Dean and Kelly Wilkins under the bus yet. Yeah, the key word there, Goose, is yet. Because the hearing is on December 31st. Katie's certainly not going to provide anything that, I don't know, she might, because they're threatening sanctions. She might start providing some of the stuff to 7M. I don't know. And again, we won't be there to hear it on the 31st as to what happens. So we'll have to wait for that ruling. So, okay. Are all her hashtags still in? That is still an issue. Yes. Hashtags are still an issue. That has not been taken out. And you'll see here, it looks like a lot was, but you're going to see why. Okay. So the very first statement, Miranda Derrick was lured into a church, 7M. These were Katie's words. Okay. Now these are what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for, y'all? Not in full. Like they're, what's the word I'm looking for? Y'all. It's like a narrative of it. Okay. Anyways, Miranda Derrick was lured into a church, 7M. 7M is associated with the 7 mountains of influence. 7M believes they need to take over all spheres of the world for Christ to return to the earth. The M in 7M stands for mountains of influence, a Pentecostal belief to take over the world, among others. Please see post for specifics. Okay. This is the first one that this judge had to go back and reconsider. Incomplete. No, I'm not looking for incomplete. I'm looking for like a narrative of like, what? You're not saying it all. You're, what the heck is wrong with my brain, y'all? Anyways. It's not that important. I'll think of it in a second. It'll just come to my brain. So then the judge says, okay, so this is the first statement that she's considering. And she says, Katie offers various statements regarding the formation and origins of Plaintiff 7M, including the 7M theology, believes that Apostle received direct revelations from God, placing followers in submission to these revelations. This is not biblical at all. 7M is dangerous theology. Okay, that's a quote that the judge saw from Katie's post that this was under. And then the judge says, the statements are verifiable, precise, and specific regarding the supposed beliefs and foundation of Plaintiff 7M. Furthermore, the statements are made in the context of Ms. Paulson's social platform in which she identifies herself as an investigative journalist, not at which the court. Summary. Thank you, Tripping Comments. If I made you fall out of the bushes for that, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's just a summary, right? At least the statement, right? So the judge would go back and would refer to the post that was summarized by 7M saying that this is defamation. And then it says go refer to the post. So then the judge is like, the statements are verifiable, precise, and specific regarding the supposed beliefs and foundation of Plaintiff 7M. Furthermore, the statements are made in the context of Ms. Paulson's social platform in which she identifies herself as an investigative journalist. Not the court identifies, but her herself. They are not made in the context of satire or other fictional commentary. As such, the statements are asserted as fact. Okay, we're going to see this statement. Okay, the statements are verifiable, precise, and specific regarding the supposed beliefs, and that they are not made in context of satire or other fictional commentary. Okay, we're going to see that every time this judge is saying what I have here in blue. Okay, so when you see blue, that's going to show that it's staying in, and this statement is going to the jury. And it says, furthermore, the evidence in the record could support a reasonable jury finding that either the plaintiffs have shown actual malice by clear and convincing evidence, or that the plaintiffs have not. Because Ms. Paulson's state of mind is relevant to whether or not she acted with actual malice, the court finds summary judgment is not appropriate on this allegation. And by saying it's not appropriate on this allegation, it means it needs to go to a jury to decide. Okay, so when we start to see the blue, that statement is staying. All right. So, hey, Purple Dragon, how are you doing? Haven't seen you in a while, my friend. Good to see you. So for those coming in, this is just recapping the motion that it appeared yesterday. The judge denied 7M's motion for an injunctive relief. Temporary injunction, which sucks, but it's not surprising. They just cannot take away her First Amendment right. If this doesn't go in Katie Joy's favor in trial, then right, something can be done. And then we're looking at the motion to reconsider, the ruling on that. And it looks at first glance that Katie had a pretty good win on this. And I'm surprised she has not said anything, y'all. I am shocked that she has not been like, I won. The judge booted out, these 30-something statements, right? These aren't going to the jury, because her people will believe her. And at first glance, it looks like that. I was like, man, I was so disappointed yesterday. But then I got to this point. I'm like, okay, I see what the judge, I see. As we just went through, and I'll keep in mind, and I'm gonna read these statements again for the next couple ones, just to keep those clear in your head, what the judge is saying. The second statement that 7M stated was defamatory, that the judge needed to reevaluate, was 7M is using religion to control time, money, and resources of dancers that were vulnerable to abuse due to their economic status, and they are abusing dancers. To that, the judge says, Katie presents information as factual that 7M is controlling the dancers' schedules, time, activities, and content, and that they are utilizing mind control to lure in dancers. She also compares 7M to a cult. Right? She continues, whether or not 7M is a cult is susceptible to different meanings, and that statement in itself is not factual. However, the court finds that in the context of the entire post, Ms. Paulson is presenting information that is verifiable, precise, and specific. Furthermore, the statements are made in the context of Ms. Paulson's social platform in which she identifies herself as an investigative journalist. They are not made in the context of satire or other fictional commentary, okay? That is going to come with the blue box, meaning that statement stays in and it's going to a jury because of Ms. Paulson's state of mind. It's relevant to whether or not she acted with actual malice. The court finds summary judgment not appropriate. Okay, so you kind of get where I'm going with this, right? See that? Okay. Number 3 that the judge looked at. The dancers managed by 7M Films management don't pick their own music, sets, clothes, or dances. We all remember where Katie Joy said that, that 7M manages everything. They don't pick their own music. They don't pick their own clothes, blah, 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 right? To which the judge says, Katie makes many factual statements here regarding 7M's content, dancers, music, and outfits. The statements are verifiable, precise, and specific, right? Blue box. Judgment is not appropriate. Summary judgment is not appropriate on this allegation, headed to the jury. So this is going to trial, and you're going to see that if Katie tries to present it, that's in her favor. Not. Oh, there's the blue box. Okay, number 4. B-Dash is a victim of the shins. He was used to lure Miranda Derrick into 7M. Claims Miranda Derrick did not cut ties with her family before she was involved with 7M. I know a lot of you are going to have comments about, are going to have something to say about this regarding, the Wilkings. Claims Miranda Derrick did not cut ties with her family before she was involved with 7M. 7M has been grooming Miranda Derrick. 7M made Miranda think her family is abusive. To which the judge says in this post, Katie claims. So the judge went back and referenced each post, each word. Now keep in mind, y'all, this is important. These are posts that were made by Katie Joy. Okay. These were posts. These are posts you can go and you can read. Versus the videos where you can see all the stuff, right? All right, and hear it. In this post, Katie claims B-Dash is a victim of the shins. He was also used to lure Miranda in. They needed women dancers. Whether or not Mr. Derrick was used to lure in, Miss Derrick, because 7M needed female dancers, is a statement that can be verified. Additionally, Ms. Paulson's statements regarding Miss Derrick cutting ties with her family are also presented as factual statements. The statements are verifiable, precise, and specific. Therefore, blue box. The court finds summary judgment is not appropriate on this allegation. Boom, go into the jury. Number 5, 7M is preying on vulnerable dancers. What? Okay, grammar police, you can come after me for that one, all right? 7M is preying on vulnerable dancers, misstates promises made by 7M to its clients. 7M controls its clients' lives. 7M blocks friends and family of its clients from reaching them. Judge says much of this post is attributed to Samantha Long, a former friend of B-Dash, who spoke about her recent observations and interactions with B-Dash. Additionally, Katie makes independent statements in the caption, such as, some family don't even know if Miranda and James' marriage is real, and management is controlling everything, even the social media. So many don't know how to reach the dancers. The social media managers are blocking any family members and friends that try to reach out. And the judge says these are specific statements of fact, which are objectively verifiable by the social media managers, dancers, and the dancers' family and friends. Furthermore, the statements are made in the context of Ms. Paulson's social platform, as she identifies herself as an investigative journalist. Blue box, that statement going to the jury. Number 6, okay? This is where I was like, okay, this is going good. All right. This is where you're going to see where Katie can absolutely, if people don't read this, how Katie can make it look like she won. Really big on some of this. But this is where I think I got way too much joy reading this. After I got to this point, I enjoyed reading this. I think this was probably my most favorite filing I've read to date. So if that says anything, I hope it does. You know what, Goose? I wouldn't be surprised if Melanie wanted to leave because she felt that Miranda was more talented and that she was going to get more airtime. It happened with what's her face? Kylie. And Kylie went and is now one of the counter complainants in the LA lawsuit. So that's, yeah. And I've always said, it's my belief, it's my opinion, okay, that that she didn't get the airtime because they're controlling certain aspects. I mean, it's a business, right? If you're not that talented or you're not as talented as Miranda's going to get more airtime. Okay, so yeah, I agree with that. Here we go. Number 6, 7M is committing crimes including human trafficking. 7M stopped Miranda Derrick from being herself. 7M clients are all part of the Shin's church. Robert Shin believes he gets prophecies from God. 7M cuts off all its clients from speaking with people outside of their organization. 7M is a cult. 7M is like Jim Jones' cult. 7M monitors its clients when they are, quote unquote, outside. 7M psychologically abuses its clients. 7M doesn't allow Miranda Derrick to drive. See post for specific allegations. Okay, now I'm here to tell you that you're going to see a yellow box. A yellow box means not sending it to the jury. But when I read what I read next, okay, let me read it. This is a very lengthy recording of a live Instagram reel. I remember which one this is. It wasn't one of the drunk ones. It wasn't one of those she deleted. It's still up on her Instagram. It was during the day. And so judge says this is a very lengthy recording of an Instagram, live. The allegation is the complaint does not identify which specific statements in the video are defamatory. Instead, it is a conclusory description of what Ms. Paulson addresses in the video. So I just find this funny, y'all. I just find this hilarious because Katie Joy is saying in her motion to reconsider, 7M is not identifying which specific statement in the video is defamatory, And so this is not actionable, basically. And so when I saw this, it's like, okay, the allegation, okay. And then it says, let me see. Plaintiffs do not offer, okay, so this is about a video. Plaintiffs, 7M, does not offer enough specificity to provide notice to defendants of the defamatory statements Ms. Paulson allegedly made. Okay. As such, summary judgment is appropriate as to allegation number 6. Okay. Typically that would be a win. However, this is where I was like, what? This is where I got my, big old smile. It's pretty sad this is not the only thing that makes me happy in life. Well, let me just make that very clear. This did make me happy, but this is not my joy. This is not my 100% joy. I'm not that crazy. However, the plaintiffs may move they may move the court to amend their complaint pursuant to Minnesota Civil Rules of Procedure 1501 in order to specify the statements which they claim are defamatory. That's huge, y'all, I think. And Leanne said the same thing in the comments. All the trafficking, yeah, those statements are awful. And so, first glance, it looks like, wow, man, that's huge. The judge is saying, that this is, appropriate. As such, summary judgment is appropriate to this allegation. However, the plaintiffs may move to amend their complaint. So the judge is giving them an option. okay, to amend their complaint. I'm like, what? This is an area of law I do not have any expertise in. I haven't looked into it yet. I have not been able to ask a friend about this yet because I'm thinking, okay, well, typically I can see where an amendment after an emotion, something like this would be, would have the judge would say, yeah, we're gonna, you have the opportunity. Yes, this Kate. Um, and but I'm like, this is summary judgment situation. The judge is really going to allow, and again, I don't have the knowledge of this. I don't. So if anybody does, tell me. And I hope to hear it in the comments. And I'm hoping that I'll hear this from Leanne or another attorney. Like, why are they allowing this option at this stage after summary judgment? And I guess it's because Katie Joy was able to have say, look, you need to reconsider this because it's too vague. So I guess the judge has to give the opportunity for 7M to come back and make it not so vague, which to me is like, let's just shine all the dust off and just make this big and shiny and hand that to the jury. Like, let's just make this even more clear. Let's make this even better. And we're just going to hand this over to the jury. Like, what? Like, seriously, I was like, what? So Cheryl, I think she's going to be on that. Now, there might be some things she chooses not to, and this is the opportunity to make it squeaky clean, to make it very presentable to a jury. And this associate attorney that she has working with her, again, like I said, a couple of filings ago, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't Amber Stavik style of writing. Like, this seems like somebody else authored this, right? And then we see, we were talking about that. Neither one of us talking to a friend about it, never noticed that there was an associate attorney listed. And she made it so precise, so understandable. Amber is such an excellent attorney when it comes to details and the law and all these things. And this other associate attorney working with her is so good at presenting information in a very clear-cut way that they are a very dynamic duo. And I've said that in other live streams or videos or whatever. Yeah, Katie Joy might be sorry she has to reconsider some of this. And it's not necessary that she has to reconsider it. It's probably how the motion was. And look, let's not forget, y'all. Let's not forget. Katie Joy basically called this judge dumbass, right? We remember this. So the judge saw that. The judge even states it was either in this one or the other ruling, I don't know. But the judge even addresses the fact that Katie Joy has been accused by 7M of misrepresenting this court and the proceedings of this court. So the judge saw where Katie Joy said the judge got it wrong because she's a dumbass, basically. So now the judge is saying, yeah, that's really, well, I saw it. She said all these things. These are all, with the judges, I'm saying they're all terrible things. The judge isn't saying that, of course, judge can't say that. But she's saying, well, it's a very lengthy recording of a live stream. The allegation and the complaint does not identify which specific statement is defamatory. So therefore, now the judge is allowing 7M to go back and amend that. I could not, y'all. I giggled. I'm not going to lie. I was in my car when I kind of read these first couple pages. 7M controls its client, because I was waiting for something, not because I pulled over, because this is that important. Again, let me remind you. 7M controls its clients' lives. It's abnormal for management teams to manage their clients' social media accounts. 7M controls everything its clients do. Please see posts for specific allegations. And the judge says this is a recording of a live Instagram reel. The allegation of the complaint does not identify which specific statements in the video are defamatory. Instead, okay. So then it says, so as such, summary judgment is appropriate, which typically would be, okay, shit. However, the plaintiffs may move to amend their complaint pursuant to Minnesota. Okay. So you see my blue and my yellow, right? Blue means judge is like, yeah, people with a reasonable mind could see or think after hearing what Katie Joy say, consider it as a fact, not an opinion. Not, it's not something made in rhetoric. This is an opinion. This is not an opinion. She's stating this as fact. That's blue box. Yellow box, so far, is, yeah, that was a lot of statements, but we don't know which one 7M is considering defamatory. So you're right, Katie Joy. Your motion to reconsider, I'll give you that. This is what I'll give you. I'll give you that. I don't know what statements are defamatory here. If you listen to it as a whole, right? We all know this. We've seen these lives. It's ridiculous. It's gross, right? You went to Target today and the lines were horrendous. Someone was talking about going to like Ross, and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot even imagine. Even in my small town, me going, no thanks. Anyways, blue box was not changed, stuck with their original decision. Yellow box so far is, yeah, that's a lot. We just don't know which is which. Okay. But 7M can go back and amend it. That's huge. 8, 7M is destroying their clients' lives. Please see posts for specific allegations. This was a live stream. The judge says the same thing. Number 9. And when it skips did we skip a number here? 7, 8, 9. If you see where we skip a number, that is one of the ones that the judge in the first motion, the first ruling on summary judgment, couldn't access those links. 7M and Robert are predatory. Robert Shin's church is tricking girls into following them. 7M and Robert Shin are shaming people into joining their church. Miranda and James' marriage is fake. And they are lying about it. 7M doesn't promote its female clients. 7M is a cult. The Shins have been searching for people to prey on. I mean, God, y'all. 7M does not pay its dancers. Shirley Kim is, quote unquote, always watching 7M's clients. See posts for specific allegations. Again, this recording is a live stream. The plaintiffs may move to amend their complaint, but as of right now, so sorry, I lost my screen there for a second. Forgot where I was. Didn't know where I was. So that's good, y'all. Was it the video where Katie was pulling and then say, I don't think this is referring to that one, but they did put that one in. They did put that one in as evidence. So, and here's the thing, like some people are like, maybe 7M won't they'll just say, okay, no, we're good with the ones that are going to trial. Hold on, I gotta take a sip of water. But at first it's kind of like, yeah, to maybe some of them. And then it's like, no, 7M is going to want the jury to see these and hear it for themselves. So heck yeah, they're going to want this in. And now they have the opportunity to go back and really point out the statements that they want to be used and shown as defamatory. Number 10, 7M's clients are all falsely married to their spouses. Remember, this is a big one that I've said from the beginning that I think this is one that's going to get her in trouble because she's lied about it. Well, she's lied about everything, but this was proven that she lied. Not only that, then we find out she gets their marriage license through discovery and shared it to the world. And so the judge says Ms. Paulson claims that, James and Miranda have provided inconsistent statements to friends regarding whether they are married. The statements are verifiable, precise, and specific. Furthermore, the statements are made in the context of Ms. Paulson's social platform, okay, that she identifies herself as an investigative journalist. Blue box, the court finds summary judgment is not appropriate, so it's going to the jury. And number 11, every person at 7M has changed their names and has a different alias. 7M's clients cannot do anything without consulting Daniel Joseph, including buying T-shirt and seeing friends and family. Robert tells his clients if they are not submitting to him, they are not submitting to God. If clients miss church, 7M takes away business opportunities from them. 7M's clients have meetings 4 times a week and are forced to work their way into church. If you are pulled out of church, you cannot do jobs and your pay is taken away. Miranda missed a family funeral because 7M wouldn't pay her if she went. Robert Shin has access to all of his clients' bank accounts and brings it up in church. 7M doesn't pay their clients. Their clients don't know how much they are being paid. Robert Shin is telling clients they must submit to him, and if they obey him, they'll be blessed by God. Okay, yellow box. It's a live stream. I remember that live stream. That live stream was another one that was done during the day, and it's still on her Instagram. You're fighting in the Walmart parking lot, Goose? I bet you there's a lot of fights going on this time of year. I Amazon everything. Like I was telling you at the beginning of the live stream, I had my little wagon. I went down to the box where Amazon and all the packages go. My wagon was overflowing, y'all. I had shit under my arms trying to pull the wagon. Stuff was falling. My goats were following, so they were trying to eat everything. The goats literally would just come and pick something off the top. So I had to like stuff everything that was like in an envelope type thing down underneath the big boxes. And then Boots is trying to eat the cardboard as I'm walking. Amazon's the way to go. I can't even imagine going out to a store right now. She was calling you the C word, Goose. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, this the real people, we see the real side of people, don't we, sometimes during the holiday season. Since Katie took all their sponsors, they can't afford to go anywhere probably. I have a feeling that they're doing something and they're okay financially. Hopefully they had enough that they did provide, that was provided from their social media, that, they were able to make it for a while. Hey, Katrina Lynn. Yeah, if it ain't online, I don't need it. That's how my life went. I think I did some shopping like a month ago, and then everything's been Amazon. Remember the other day I was like, I gotta go wrap. I didn't wrap one present, and now I've got a mound, even more. I've got so much to wrap or throw in bags. Okay, we'll continue. Number 13, 7M is controlling their clients. Social media, friends, and family are being blocked from contacting 7M's clients. Management is isolating their clients and dictating their every move. In this post, Katie refers to a post by Jake Kodish. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Grammar, please. Wee-oo. Jake Kodish? I don't know. I might be saying that wrong. Come at me. Regarding the fact that he was blocked by Miss Derrick. Additionally, Miss Paulson makes independent statements such as, given that management is controlling the dancers, social media, friends, and family are being blocked from contacting the dancers. And the management is isolating the dancers and dictating their every move. See, this was a post, y'all. This wasn't a live. So the judge, this is very clear what statements we're saying are defamatory, or 7M is saying is defamatory. The statements. Was it this one I just read? Y'all, I just lost my place, didn't I? What number were we on? We were on number 11 or some shit. Anyways, you get the gist. Yeah. That was a live stream. Okay. So where were we at, y'all? 13? We read that long one. We read that one. The dancers are worked constantly by management. Okay, regardless. There's so many. So here's my question to y'all. There's probably like 60 more. Do y'all want to see each statement? And then you'll be able to tell by my color coding. Hey, Renelle. Good to see you. So the question is, we see my color coding. We know the statements that 7M is saying these are defamatory. So at this point, the judge is saying, yeah, this sounds like she's stating it's very precise, stated as a fact. I guess that's not really the term she uses. She says, let me see. Statements are verifiable, precise, and specific. Okay, I don't want to say fact because that's not what the order says. The statements are verifiable, precise, and specific, right? So we'll see statements where the judge is like, yeah, they're verifiable, precise, and specific. Boom. Going to the jury. I'm not changing my mind. Good try though, Katie Joy. And then we're seeing where you see like all the, summarize the word I couldn't think of earlier, where they would summarize what was said in a live stream. And Katie Joy in her motion reconsider basically is like, but they're not being specific on what I said is defamatory and or my statements are opinion or rhetoric and whatever else she said. So on those situations where it was a live stream, the judge is like, yeah, I can't determine if this specific statement that was said in this very lengthy live stream. So 7M, you have the opportunity to amend your complaint and let us know exactly what statements you feel in that live stream are defamatory. It's hilarious to me, y'all. Like, I just find this is me. This is my opinion. Again, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not saying that the judge is like, oh, doesn't like Katie Joy or anything like that. I'm not saying that. The judge has to be, partial, right? It's just funny to me that it's like, okay, you're right, and goes through every statement. So the dancers are worked constantly by management. Robert Shin told his clients that God told them the magic required for TikTok algorithms, whatever. And then the judge states what she read in Paulson's and Katie's post. Today we learned that the dancers are worked constantly by the management, and that Robert also told them that God told them the magic of the algorithm for videos. The statements are verifiable, precise, and specific. Boom. Okay, go into the jury. Robert Shin is telling his clients Christ wants them to be a certain way. 7M is a cult. Robert Shin believes he has been selected by God. Robert Shin is manipulative. 7M is underpaying their clients. 7M is exploiting their clients. Robert Shin is abusing clients of 7M. Judge says this is a recording of a live stream. The allegations, a complaint does not identify. So, summary judgment is appropriate, and 7M has the opportunity to go take a move for the court. Okay. I underlined this for a reason, and I'm going to check chat real quick. Do y'all want to go through all of these, or do you just kind of want to stop at some of them, or me to point out the most specific? I know there's not too many chatting, so I don't really know what y'all want to do with this. I don't mind sitting here and reading them all. I can go through them very quickly, and then because the color coding, you can see what it was. There are a couple, okay, that the judge did say, yeah, I could see how that could be taken as opinion and booted that one. There's a couple of those, and they're not big deals, in my opinion. I mean, there's so many others, I guess. I mean, you want it all, but there's so many others. I don't want to say it's not a big deal because I don't know how Amber Stavik feels about it. Yeah, Cheryl. Yeah, I felt so much better after I read this. You want to read all of them? Yeah, I don't mind sitting here reading them. I'll just go through them quickly because, again, you get to see the color. Another thing I can do, y'all, it will take some time. So unless you really want this, and if y'all aren't in chat to talk about it and you want to leave a comment under the comments, because it does help with the video, it is helping my channel. I am having people tell me they're not getting notifications when they go live. I've had people tell me they've been unsubbed, but they didn't unsub. They're having a resub. So I don't know. So point out really good ones. We'll go through them very quickly. Yeah, some that I just kind of feel like I can summarize myself. I can't wait for Amber to amend the complaint either. And again, we still don't know what's going to happen with the two motions we went over on, what was it, just Tuesday? And I did not think I was going to be sitting here again. I'll be honest with y'all. Yesterday, when I saw there were rulings, I was like, oh my gosh, I do not want to read this. I do not want to go live. I don't want to deal with this. I don't have the time. Like, I don't want to deal with Katie Joy. And then I started to read it and I got a lot of joy out of it. You didn't get a notification? Maybe the thing to do is go unsub from me and then resub and then hit the notifications. And then once you hit that notification bell, you can hit all, and that will give you anytime I put a post out or if I go live, or you can choose what specific ones you want so I don't bug you. I don't put many posts up. I did yesterday. Typically, a lot of times I don't even post at all. You didn't either, Renelle. Boo, you too, boo, boo. Yeah. So unsub, sub again. Hit that like, hit that notification bell. That and then maybe from here we'll get going again. I need to get my channel moving like I had it before I decided to delete it. For reasons that had only that had nothing to do with Katie Joy. I just have to say that. For someone, there's some people that I think believe that they're the reason why I deleted my channel. It has nothing to do with Katie Joy. So anyways, here, if I remember highlighting this and I was like, oh man. Okay. Number 16. This is a big one, y'all, to me. 7M is a cult. And the cult is that they are preying on Black dancers, exploiting them, and convincing people don't like them for being Black. Now, I remember this post. Oh, that's what I was saying earlier. Hold on, let me finish this and then remind me what I was saying earlier. That I can go find the post. I can do another live where I can show the video to go along with these, summaries of what 7M is saying is defamatory, or like find the post for this. Okay. In this post, Katie Joy states, and this was in her post. I remember this post. I should have found this one at least. Miss Paulson and again, I'm not reading chat right now. I'm in a totally separate window. So if y'all are saying stuff, sorry, I can't. I'm not gonna see it for a second. In this post, Katie states that the worst part of this cult is that they are preying on Black dancers, exploiting them, and then making them believe that everyone is mad at them because they are Black. This is what the judge said. She herself follows this statement with #facts, outright suggesting that this statement is not just her opinion, but rather a fact she has uncovered. Just my opinion, y'all. Just my opinion, just my personal observation. I found that very interesting. Very interesting. Why do I not have the hype button? I don't know. That's another thing somebody told me that on some of my stuff, there's a hype button. And some of it, there's not. Can you, when people are live, are you able to hit the hype button? Or does it have to be when the live is over? Thank you, Mama T. If anybody chooses to become a member of the channel, I think I have it set at the lowest amount, which is either 99 cents or $1.99. It's no more than $1.99, I don't think. That helps support the channel. That'll help, it helps the channel. It helps me be able to keep going live and doing stuff like this. Or, if when I have to pay for certain documents or something like that, which I haven't really had to lately. So anyways. Yeah, maybe only when the video is finished. Mic drop, right? Let me just read that again. In this post, this is the judge saying. In this post, Katie states, the worst part of this cult is that they are preying on Black dancers, exploiting them, and then making them believe that everyone is mad at them because they are Black. And then the judge says, she herself follows this statement with #facts, outright suggesting that this statement is not just her opinion, but rather a fact she has uncovered. And blue box, clearly, right? Because she stated as a fact, #fact. So when somebody asked earlier, the whole situation about the hashtags, right? Where the judge is like, she's stating these hashtags, that's inclusive of this post. That makes it an entire whole. Like this is whole. This is all inclusive. Your post with all your hashtags, because if somebody is searching that hashtag and it pulls up your post, that's what your post is. They're going to come looking for, all the bad things that she said about Robert Shin. Even if the post is not about that, the judge is saying, well, you put a hashtag, so therefore the post is about that. That was bad for Katie Joy. And as you can see, the judge is sticking to that. You're just happy to catch a live. Oh, wait, I just missed your thing. I'm glad you're here to catch a live. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about your dad. I hope everything's okay. She is freaking dumb, Goose. She is screwed. I agree. Do you see on the face of this? Like, let's look at the next one and see what the next one is. That one got me, y'all. I was like, whoa. That was number 16. Number 7, I have a star by it, so this must be pretty good too. Oh, this must be the one. Okay, so if I don't have a box around it, this is one of the ones the judge just decided to put out. Number 17, the statement is Shin's ruined relationship between the Derricks and Miranda Derrick's family. And the judge says, this post is clearly not rooted in fact. It is simply a picture of an anniversary post regarding Miss Derrick's parents, to which plaintiff James Derrick replied. Katie simply states, from almost 2 years ago, just leaving this here. Relationship ruined by the Shins. Whether or not the Shins, quote unquote, ruined the Derrick's relationship with the Wilkings is a matter of opinion. Summary judgment is appropriate on this allegation. So that particular post won't go to the jury. But there are other ones, y'all, okay? There are other ones where Katie makes this exact same sentiment. She says the exact same thing, but she states it more as a fact. So it's not a big thing for this is not going to hurt 7M, okay? And it's not helping Katie Joy. Yes, if you are the praying type, please send up some prayers. Happy Hanukkah to you, formerly Brianna. And for all of you in here, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays. Okay. We'll get back to it. I'm just checking on chat because I'm having to do this in a separate window because my ding dong self had to figure it out the other day and can't figure it out today. But that's all right. Happy holidays, everyone. That's right, Mama T. Even the grammar police, y'all. I said the other day, happy holidays to everybody but the grammar police, whatever her name was. I don't remember. She came in comments. But I wish her a happy holiday as well. Everybody, even Katie Joy, right? Because if she's happy, her son will be happy, her family will be happy. And I hope he has good holidays. I hope all the kids do. For all these people that are online that, and I'm not saying this about Katie Joy because I do not talk about her son. I do not talk about her child. That is the most I will say. But other creators where you see them where they're putting their kids out there and they're exploiting them and all that, it's really hard on the kids. I just hope that the parents have a good holiday season because that's what the kids experience, right? They feed off of their emotions of their parents. So, all right. So that's one that the judge is like, okay, no, summary judgment is appropriate. Number 18, 7M is a religious cult. Tells people to not interact with 7M or their clients because they are a cult. We all remember this. Cult leaders commit crimes. 7M is exploiting their clients. See posts for specific allegations, telling people street addresses associated with Robert Shin. And the judge says this is a recording of a live Instagram reel. The allegations in the complaint does not identify which specific statement. Okay, that the plaintiffs may move the court to amend their complaint. All right, so that one, we'll see what 7M does. Number 19, all of 7M Robert Shin's clients are victims. Shins are cult leaders. Robert Shin is a narcissistic person. Robert Shin asks his clients to live on his property. This one, was it you, Goose, asking about the where she was wearing the blue and white polka dotted dress and it looked like she was ripping something out of her crotch? Pardon me, y'all. If you haven't seen it, Llama Girl has it somewhere on her Twitter, on X. But this is that live. This was the beginning of it where she states this. And I think this is another reason why maybe the judge did it, because you'll see separate numbers, different numbers, but they're from the same live stream. And so, yeah, Katie's right. It's not specific. It's not specific to a certain comment, certain statement, certain sentence, whatever, right? But this one I remember for a fact is from that, because that's what she was talking about, where Robert Shin asked his clients to live on his property. Robert Shin told someone that God instructed him to teach young women about sex. Robert Shin has conditioned people not to think Robert Shin targets young women to induce them into his cult. Yeah, that was at the beginning of that statement. That was a drunken live that was deleted. So yellow box, right? Yellow box. Yep. This is a recording of a live Instagram reel. I bet the judge, when she saw this one in particular, was like, what the actual hell? Like, I mean, it's shocking. Katie Joy deleted it herself. Why? Why did you delete it, Katie? Why? She made so many allegations in that. And oh God, that one. I have it all. I have it all. So anyways, same thing. Instagram reel. As such, summary judgment is appropriate, meaning, well, as it is, can't send it to the jury, but plaintiffs can move the court to amend the complaint. Huge. Number 20, Katie Joy admits to contacting the LA Clippers to get them to cancel their contract with 7M and their clients. Goose, I think it was you. Hold on, I gotta take a sip of water, y'all. I think it was you, Goose, saying about the 7M, about the Clippers. Goose. Here, I'm not going to read it out loud, but there's what happened during that live stream. Okay, it was you. Okay, so I can't remember what it was about the Clippers, and I don't see a blue or yellow box yet. So let's go read that one now. And I'm going to leave your comment up because it's funny as hell. 20. Katie Joy admits to contacting the LA Clippers to get them to cancel their contract with 7M and their clients. Katie claims that she discovered the Clippers were being pressured to cut ties with 7M. She also commented on plaintiffs' alleged plans to build an extremely expensive sanctuary for which the Shins would receive all the money from the dancers. She presents this information as factual. Statements are verifiable, precise, and specific. Blue box, y'all. Didn't even think about that one. Going to the jury. 22. Robert Shin is a cult leader. Robert Shin does not allow clients to own their own car. Robert Shin is spying on his clients. This is a recording of a live stream. So judge says, what statement? Okay. You can move the court to amend that one. 23. 7M is a cult. Robert Shin schmexually abuses women. And that same thing was in a live stream. So you see, okay, so you can see where I started to get to see the pattern, right? Once I started to see the pattern, that's, early on. I mean, it was earlier than this. I'm not that slow to catch on, but like as I started to see the pattern, I started to feel much better about this. I have a lot of faith in this judge, y'all. I think that this judge did the best thing in this entire situation. Yes, it's been a long ass time. Why is it taking so long? It's crazy. Again, though, a lot of issues with discovery, which Katie Joy is blaming 7M, but we see that Katie Joy is just as big of a problem, probably bigger. But also there was a different judge to begin with, and then they had a hearing so that judge could get caught up, and that delayed. There was a huge delay in filing the motions in 2022. It was like November of 2022. So actually seeing the orders like in February of 23. So there was a long time for that. And there's been some other really long times waiting on rulings. It's okay that you're late. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays too. S dances. Stop it, Mama T. Oh man. I'm only checking chat, right, just here and there because I can't see it fully because like I said, my ding dong self. Okay. Then the next one is number 24. Fact. And this is what I remember this post. Because it says fact. Without a crystal ball, located the home she and B- share. God, this is who you stalking crazy bitch. You stalker. Leave Miranda alone as to where she lives. The home is also home to Reno. Shirley Kim is a listing agent for the home. You stalking crazy weirdo. You fucking weirdo. And the judge says, Miss Katie presents information regarding the Derrick's residence as factual. She also states the home is not their home. The church facilitated the rental and moved them in with Reno. The statements are verifiable, precise, and specific. Therefore, blue box. Judge says, yep, you did not state that as an opinion. Didn't sound like an opinion. It was precise, and that's going to the jury. Hold on. I think someone's trying to contact me. Okay. We see yellow lines here, so that means that whatever this is, the judge is like summary. Okay, so posting private information about Robert Shin's address, claiming a property is a cult compound. 7M is forcing clients to live in bad neighborhoods. Robert Shin is stealing money from his clients. These are general factual statements regarding the location of the property that houses the church. However, the statements are not defamatory as they do not reflect poorly on plaintiffs, nor do they have the potential to lower their estimation in the community. Summary judgment is appropriate on this allegation. So whatever that was, that will not be seen by the jury. Number 26, all dancers are grouped in homes within the same area and homes owned by the church or managed by the church. The judge says Katie states that none of the married couples live in their own homes. The statements are verifiable, precise, and specific. Therefore, blue box, court finds summary judgment is not appropriate in this allegation. 27, Robert Shin directed Miranda Derrick to meet with her parents. 7M is a cult. Daniel Joseph of 7M controls all the client's decisions. And the judge says this is a recording of a live Instagram reel. Again, can't specify what statement Katie said within that they consider defamatory. So 7M can amend that within the complaint. 28, the dancers are living under tight control and not allowed to do anything without Daniel Joseph's permission. I was surprised that because Daniel Joseph is not he's not a party to this case. So I was kind of surprised that the judge she says Katie shared a video from Miranda in which Miranda discusses meeting with her parents. Katie placed this is why. Katie placed text over the video stating, don't forget 7M is controlling every aspect of the dancers' lives, and Robert Shin, through Daniel, gives permission for everything. Ms. Paulson also states that Robert is quote unquote, allowing Miranda to meet with her parents. And the judge says the statements are verifiable, precise, and specific. So, wait. Yeah. Wait, what? Hold on. The dancers are grouped in homes the same. What am I doing, y'all? I'm getting cross-eyed. Where all dancers are grouped in homes the same, but anyways, whatever. That was not, that's not huge. 27, Robert Shin directed Miranda Derrick to meet with her parents. 7 was a cult Daniel. Okay, that's where we were. It was alive. The dancers are living under tight control, not allowed to do anything without Daniel Joseph. Okay, that's where we were just at. The judge actually said nope. She stated that, that it sounds factual, whatever. That one's going to the jury. Okay, so if I underline anything in this aqua colors because it was something interesting. Number 29, Katie Joy has accessed and distributed to the public confidential court documents covered by protective order. This one got me, y'all. I'm going to come back and check chat. Hold on. You're getting ready to get your hair done. Get your hair done for the holidays. This one, Catherine Paulson has accessed and distributed to the public confidential court documents covered by protective order. Do you remember whenever she put out some, here it'll say, Katie provides commentary on 2 pages of a deposition. This got me. Katie provides commentary on 2 pages of a deposition of a lawsuit in which Robert was a party. The judge says her dialogue mischaracterizes and embellishes statements made in the 2-page excerpt of the deposition. She presents her assertions as facts. The judge said that this document that Katie Joy got, this court document, the judge herself just said, not only did she show it, she misinterpreted it and embellished it and stated it as fact. Y'all. Right, sis Kate? I mean, like, why? But listen, as of before I came on here, Katie has not spoken about this. And again, at first glance, as you see, it could look like she had a big win. Not only that, they did grant, they denied the motion for a temporary injunction. Oh, I need to get my nails done. Bad. Bad. Yeah, don't you love being pampered, Blake? So that one got me, y'all. This judge our dialogue mischaracterizes and embellishes statements made in the 2-page excerpt of the deposition. Wow. So, 7M is saying, she's showing stuff that shouldn't be shown. And the judge agrees with that. But not only that, says, yeah, and she got the shit wrong. 30 states that this is not about Miranda Derrick. It's about Robert Shin. 7M is a cult using race to distract people from real issues. Again, showing her racism, in my opinion. This is Instagram reel. Let us know which one you think, okay, yellow box. 7M is not only trying to control the dancers, they also want to control the government. The judge says, basically this post shows 2 letters written to the Sunland Tahunga neighborhood council regarding Shirley Kim's desire to serve on the board. Katie captions states that 7M wants to control the government, and 7M has been planning this for years. 7M's motives and goals are objectively verifiable facts. The statements are verifiable, precise, and specific. So yeah, that one she didn't backtrack on. This one she says, okay, 7M dancers exhibit numerous signs that they are being trafficked, signs of trafficking, etc. And the judge says Ms. Paulson's statements that 7M dancers exhibit numerous signs that they are being, trafficked is a matter of opinion. Okay, so summary judgment is appropriate on that. Robert Shin is using the dancers to further his real estate companies. Okay, she says that Katie Joy, Ms. Paulson's statements that Mr. Shin is using the dancers to further his real estate company. He worked his previous church members 14 to 16 hours a day. He told previous church members to give all the money to the church, and that he started a millionaires club are verifiable, precise, and specific. So she didn't go back on that one. Number 35, in a sworn deposition, Robert Shin admitted that he used millions of dollars in church donations to further his business and for his own fortune. This allegation is based on the same post that is the basis for allegation number 34, okay, regarding that lawsuit that Robert Shin was. This isn't about this deposition in this case. It's about deposition in another case. Ms. Paulson's statement is verifiable, precise, and specific. So yeah, judge didn't like that one either, right? Here's another one that the judge is like, yep, verifiable, precise, and specific. Robert Shin propositions women for inappropriate contact. Robert Shin curses people who don't give him money. Robert Shin demands his clients submit to him. Robert Shin accesses his clients' bank accounts. Robert Shin forces his clients to divorce their spouses. Robert Shin takes money from his church to fund his lifestyle. Robert does not pay his clients. Robert won't let people use their own vehicles. Robert forces people to put their kids in daycare. Okay. Verifiable, precise, and specific. Here's one that the judge said summary judgment is granted on allegation 37. Katie Joy has access and distributed to the public confidential court documents covered by protective order. And again, that's referring to this other court case. Okay. So that specific post isn't really going to hurt them, right? Because there's others saying the same thing. Yeah, she doesn't care about them, Cheryl. It's terrible what she's done to Miranda and James. Just terrible. See you later, Sis Kate. Have a great rest of your day. Right, XOB and XO. Yeah. Remember when they're not, and I did a video showing that. In fact, I used this post or this, whatever was said in here along with another one to prove that what she was saying is she would say specifically, they're not allowed to have children, that there are no children in this, quote unquote cult. Wrong again. So that one, here's a long one, which, the judge kept in. Robert admitted to setting up a shell company, Mission 2020, in order to form other companies underneath the organization. He would start a business as DBA and only incorporate after it became profitable. Yeah, no shit, dumbass. The businesses generated limited income, but rather were used to funnel donations from the church to Robert Shin as quote unquote payroll, quote unquote bonuses, and quote unquote interest. You don't know that. The fact was the money, there's the word fact, was the money he received via these businesses were donations made by Lydia Chung and her trust. Shin took out loans from Shekinah for these businesses to pay himself via payroll, bonuses, and interest. Y'all, like, how, if I were on a jury and I'm hearing this, how would you feel? Like, what would you feel as a juror in this? I know you got to take it out that we hate Katie Joy and we know her whole background. But if I just saw this as a juror, he's using the church to sell nonprofit to defraud people and enrich himself by funneling donations to show. Okay, there's no proof of that. There's no proof of that. Like, how would you feel as a juror on in this case? With a statement like that alone. Yeah, she cannot stay out of people's finances. Unreal. And that one, that precise, specific, verifiable. Number 41, holding the dancers captive. And the judge says, Katie is commenting on Isaiah Shin's bio, which includes a statement, God first, second, and third. Miss Paulson states, it's the putting God first, second, and third, which while holding dancers captive in a cult for me. I remember that post. But the judge says that Isaiah is not a party to this lawsuit, and she makes no factual statements regarding plaintiffs. Okay. But the one regarding Daniel Joseph, which is Robert's son-in-law, that one did have comments that she made specifically about some of the plaintiffs. See, that's the thing, Cheryl. She did everything she was told. She ran as fact. She didn't research anything. Nothing. Guaranteed. It's been, I mean, after all this time later, you see that she didn't. And where is it? Where's all the evidence? You can't say, and this is what she tried. She tried to say, I'm a journalist. I have, I'm protected by journalistic privilege. Like, I'm protected here. And the judge is like, no, you still have to provide all this stuff. And Katie still hasn't done it. Right. She tried to say that she doesn't have to give up her sources. Damn it. And there's this one thing. Oh, y'all. My husband, we're buying a tractor. I think I told y'all. I'm like, look, we're just buying a new one. Said earlier, I went in just to see 0% financing at this one dealership. And then we went to another brand, which I knew he was more interested in. Same 0% interest for 72 months. The other one was 60. And I'm like, that you can't. How can we not? Right? He needs a new tractor. We can do it. We just need to do it. There's one out there that was, I think it was built in 1975. Okay. So it could be my sister tractor. Actually, I'd be older. And he always has to work on it, and he's always fixing it. And my husband's brilliant. I'm not just saying this because he's my husband and I love him to death, but he is so smart. So anyways, he just sent me a picture of the tractor that we're getting. He's like, well, I almost said the city that it's in, but she's here basically. So he gets to go test drive it. And then hopefully he'll sign the papers and get this shit over with by the end of the year, because the 0% interest ends on Katie Joy's next court date, which is December 31st. Anyway, sorry, I just went on a tangent about my husband and the tractor. I just want this shit to be done. Anyways, Isaiah is not a party. So I'm like, this is not a big deal, right? This is not going to hurt 7M, and it's not going to help Katie Joy. This one, Robert Shin and his team are controlling every move the dancers make. They control their money, time, and they are forcing them to live in property they either own or manage, means 7M. The dancers are being hurt by Robert. The dancers are not paid by brands. Oh, wow, y'all. Oh, that just clicked in my brain, because Katie Joy just said in one of these motions, she's talking about, her attorney's talking about how Miranda and James in their depositions talked about how they got paid by brands, And so they that's been proven. And because Katie Joy's attorney even is like going along with it. The dancers are not paid by brands. Don't run their own social media. And that's, and they testified against that as well, and aren't making any of their own choices. They testified against that as well. They aren't allowed to answer questions. Everything must go through Hannah Shin. They're working long hours. The Shins are paying them a percentage after they are paid. Then the dancers are required to pay them rent, tithe the church, and donate to Robert Shin. Katie presents her statements regarding Robert's control of the dancers as factual. Okay, so therefore, she's saying, summary judgment is not appropriate on that allegation. Therefore, go into the jury. Robert allegedly takes away privileges such as going to church, Bible studies, spending time with others in the church, work opportunities, and collaborations while he lives in a large home and drives a Bentley. Okay, you know what? People that own corporations, people that are executives, people that own the companies, they typically drive better cars and live in better houses than their employees. Just saying. He has all the dancers living in homes grouped together. That's not true. The homes are through the church and they pay rent to the church. This will be proven not true. But then again, okay, there was a point where I think this statement was kind of true, possibly. And Katie Joy's attorney submitted, she was supposed to put it as confidential, but it was filed to be seen. So, but it was a rental agreement, kind of proving what they're saying. But just because somebody that works for Robert Shin's real estate company is it helped them locate this property, or becomes the the quote unquote realtor for that property, does not mean that they're renting from them. I mean, when I was looking, I had realtors that showed me properties. Doesn't mean I'm paying them rent. They worked for the realtor, the realty company, right? Whatever, dipshit. But what does she say? Yeah, see, summary judgment is inappropriate on this allegation. All right, here's a couple that the judge there's quite a few in line here that the judge said that summary judgment is appropriate. Therefore, okay, Katie, I reassessed some, and then I'm going to throw, these aren't going to the jury. We asked her, are the women at risk of sexual exploitation by Robert Shin? Lydia said, yes, they're at risk of sexual exploitation. The judge says, Katie attributes this information to Lydia Chung, and she does not present this information as factual. Okay. MAC Cosmetics has confirmed to multiple people they are not partnered with 7M and have no plans to partner with them in the future. While this is a factual statement, plaintiffs do not claim it is false. As such, it cannot be a basis for defamation, and summary judgment is appropriate. So the MAC Cosmetics thing might not be seen at trial unless there's another post that 7M is able to put in there. Like maybe it's something that she stated in one of her live streams that 7M is able to go back and make that amendment to the complaint. Let's see this one. She alleged that after meeting Robert, he isolated her from her husband, convinced her that he was influenced by demons because her husband didn't support Shekinah. We're talking about Shirley here, I believe. And supported by influenced by demons because her husband didn't support Shekinah Church, convinced her to divorce her husband, moved her into a home with other women from the church, and then took full control of her life. Lydia was that's what I meant to say, Lydia, not Shirley. Forgive me. It's Lydia, not Shirley. Shirley is married, separate, and is still works with Robert in some form or fashion. Lydia was a recent immigrant from Korea while she first met Robert and her sister, Catherine. She was also a trustee of a large fund in Korea which held millions of dollars. She alleged, because this is part of the lawsuit, she alleged over several years Robert and Catherine gained access of her bank accounts. And she got all of this from that lawsuit. And the judge says many of the statements in this post are attributed to allegations Lydia made against Robert Shin. However, Katie presents as fact that Mr. Shin is not an ordained minister. See, the judge went through and picked out even the little parts in here, because this was a post, that Katie did state as fact. And one of it was that Robert is not an ordained minister in California, and that he admitted in his depositions to using Lydia's church donations to benefit his personal businesses. The statements are verifiable, precise, and specific. Interesting. Quite interesting. Here's another one that she found verifiable, precise, and specific. Former members allege he's forced divorces, arranged marriages, and has had trysts with many women at church. One source alleges that one loyal woman was used as bait for real estate agents. They allege Robert would send the woman on dates with agents as bait to get listings for their company. Now, listen, y'all. I believe that this is the basis of her whole trafficking, SEX ring. And what a lot of it came from was this lawsuit against Lydia Chung and Robert Shin, where she had all these accusations against him. And let's not forget, Robert did not lose in that lawsuit. Okay. Regardless of what it may be, how or why, or however you want to turn it, doesn't matter. These are still just accusations against Robert Shin. They were not proven as fact or factual. Okay. Hold on a second. Every time I take a sip of water, I don't want to do the whole Katie Joy thing where you can hear it. It grosses me out so much when I can hear her swallow. Like, it grosses me out to the fullest extreme. Did that case get thrown out? Which one? Which case, XO? Are you talking about the one that's current in LA? The current one where Robert is suing Melanie, Priscilla, and the two bloggers, that's still going. The cross complainants are still there. That case is still going on. However, his attorney in LA filed a motion to stay, and it was granted, so it's on hold. Yeah, Goose is right. Robert, from all the cases at least that Katie has referenced, Robert prevailed in those civil suits. So this one included, which is not going to look good to a jury when Katie's stating this is fact and the judge is saying, yeah, the statements are made in the context of Miss Paulson's. She's stating it as fact on her, as she stated. And here's the thing. Another thing I've been meaning to point out, where it says over and over and over again. Hope y'all notice that everything I'm skipping here is just repeated for every statement that we read. Where it says the statements are verifiable, precise, and specific. Furthermore, the statements are made in the context of Miss Paulson's social platform, in which she identifies herself as an investigative journalist. I think that because Katie Joy is like, no, I'm an investigative journalist. I have, journalistic privilege. I think that's going to hurt her. Now we're starting to see it. You know how we were kind of going, is it going to hurt her? Is it going to help her? What's going to happen? I think it's going to hurt her. Is Luke in here? I see somebody address him. Did he say what he was supposed to say? Now, this is what he says in Charlotte's chat. When Charlotte, well, he doesn't even say it regarding Hey, everyone. Is that all you said, Lou? Oh my gosh, it's already 4 o'clock. My time. This has been 2 hours. All right. So, um, let me give you a recap for anybody that's in here that did not see what I was saying earlier. When you look at this as a whole, let me see what number we're on. We're on 49. When you look at this as a whole and you look at the order, okay, and you look down here, you can see how much longer we have to go, y'all. We can pick this up another day. I don't even know if y'all want to. No, we're going to finish it. If you look down here, it says it was granted in part. This motion to reconsider, Katie Joy's motion to reconsider. And if you look at this, all these statements right here, at first glance, it appears that the judge is like, yeah, you're right, Katie Joy. Those can't be considered by the jury. So those aren't going to be submitted. But thank you, Luke. Love you. What we, and I was freaking, y'all. I'm not freaking. I was, look, this is a court case. You never know. The judge has to do her duty. We have to understand that there's things we don't know as well. We see so much, etc. But I was disappointed. I was like, no way. This judge went back and said all these statements, which only leaves 30 something to go to trial. No way. But what we're seeing, for those that weren't in here earlier, what we're seeing is, well, we'll just skip to 53. Okay. We were at 49. You guys get the gist. Where Katie says, Robert is telling his clients Christ wants them to be a certain way. 7M is a cult. Robert believes he has been selected by God. Robert is manipulative. 7M is underpaying their clients. 7M is exploiting their clients. Robert is abusing clients of 7M. Oh, wait, that's number 15. Okay, still, this is an example. Okay, I knew we read that one. But the point being, this was a recording. So the judge says this is a recording of a live stream. Okay, and 7M didn't make specific what exact statement Katie Joy said in that long ass, in all these live streams, but this one in particular, where they summarized this. So statement number 15 is a summary of what Katie Joy said in this Instagram reel. Okay, and Katie Joy's main argument in this reconsideration is that the judge didn't look at certain things, and that 7M did not specify what was what statement I made that they said is defamatory. What I don't think Katie Joy was expecting, I wasn't expecting this. This made me giggle, and then I enjoyed this whole filing. This is a recording of a live Instagram reel. The allegation in the complaint does not identify which specific statements in the video are defamatory. And then instead it's conclusory description of what Katie addresses in the video. Where am I? Plaintiffs do not offer enough specificity to provide notice to defendants of the defamatory statements Ms. Paulson allegedly made. As such, summary judgment is appropriate as to allegation number 15. However, the plaintiffs may move to amend their complaints. That is huge. Okay? So anytime there's a yellow box to one of these statements, that is saying that 7M can go back and amend that and say what specific statement Katie Joy made in that live stream that they think is defamatory. A blue box is that, the judge says that the court finds summary judgment is not appropriate on that, which means no summary judgment on that statement. So that statement is going to the jury. Okay, so let me go back. I got my numbers mixed up. I was looking at, good thing. We were at number 49. So we're moving on to 50, which blue box, Shin exploits followers under the guise of religion to hand over their fortunes. Okay. Judge says, nope, keeping that, going to the jury. 7M controls clients' bank accounts. That was verifiable, precise, and specific. So that one's going to the jury. Robert Shin barely works and lives off the work of his cult followers. Judge says Katie's statements regarding the frequency of Robert's work schedule and the source of his income are verifiable, precise, and specific. So she kept that one. That one's going to the jury. 53, her pastor and his wife, quote unquote, the woman of God, is also her manager. They dictate her whole schedule. Okay, that one's going to the jury. Members must fully obey and submit to Robert and Hannah or face consequences, says the former members. Going to jury. Robert and Hannah continue to force Miranda to respond to claims while having her accuse her family of doing what they are seemingly doing to her. Whether or not Miss Derrick was forced to respond to claims is verifiable, precise, and specific. Okay. Going to the jury. Robert and Hannah continue to Please remember there are dozens of Mirandas that have been victimized by the Shins. Okay, this is underlined in gold. So, judge says the statements in this allegation are not specific enough to be considered facts. Summary judgment is appropriate on this allegation. That statement in itself will not be heard by the jury. Call to stop people from becoming clients of 7M or working with them. Miranda Derrick has been kidnapped by 7M. Judge says that Ms. Paulson does not make any factual statements, and summary judgment is appropriate for that one. I don't like that because I don't like that word that was used, kidnapped. Perez Hilton got ruled a journalist in Blake Lively's mess. Now, according to Katie, yeah, she thinks she is. Absolutely. Yeah, the judge is like, now I've read every single thing and I'm going to lay it out real nice for the plaintiffs. Goose, that's exactly how I took it. It's like, okay, let me just make this even more precise and shiny. Let's just make a straighter arrow. Like, let's just make this even more clear, right? So there's a lot, okay, as you can see. Robert stole the money he used to buy his vehicle. Is that really that important? That's not going to hurt them that the judge is like, this allegation relies the same post allegations number 52. As such, this allegation should be dismissed as duplicative. So I don't remember, was 52 granted? Granted's not the right word, but you know what I mean. Yeah, okay, so they will see that. Yeah, y'all, there's just so much. Let's see. 7M is using a church to fund for-profit companies and control their members. That one's going to the jury. Robert Shin has waterboarded members. Okay, this one I want to talk about. And then we'll skip through it real quick because I'm hungry, y'all, and this is just getting boring and long. That whole waterboarding thing. I know somebody was talking, yesterday, like, oh, I really hope that is going to be seen. I know a lot of people are going to have a comment about this. So Katie says Robert Shin has waterboarded his members of his church. And I think that this was a post, not the live stream where she said it. So the judge says, Katie does not outright claim that Robert waterboarded members of his church. She is simply replaying an audio of a comment about boarding that is clearly made in jest. While Katie questions whether the comment is serious, she does not represent the statement as factual. As such, summary judgment is warranted on this allegation. So that one gets me because that's not how it went down. But because 7M has the opportunity to amend, if they find that this is something they really want the jury to hear, then they can, pick out the statement that where Katie Joyce said it on her live. Possibly, I'm assuming that's how it would work. And it could be heard because this was not Katie Joyce saying this in jest. Thank you, Mama T. If you want to read these on your own, but says that Kate calls on supporters to harass sponsor Forever 21. That one's not going to be seen. And the thing that kind of concerns me about this is that has to do with the tortious interference, like interfering with their, interfering with their contracts. Yeah, I'm losing steam here. So let me see if there's anything that sticks out. We're on 64. The do fasting, that one's going to go in. AT&T has cut ties with 7M client following the allegations regarding 7M being a cult. And it says this is a screenshot of Hannah Shin leaving comment on AT&T regarding a collaboration. This post does not contain any statements regarding plaintiffs, so that one's not going to be seen. When Katie Joy talked about they've now deleted James' Facebook and Twitter, Miranda's Facebook and Twitter, like that will be seen. That's not their accounts that they're fighting over right now on Instagram, but she said this earlier on. Shekinah Church leadership restricts our access to phone and communications because they must spend all their time working to support the gospel. That's presented as precise and specific, so that's going to the jury. After reviewing court records, interviewing multiple former members and families of those trapped, my opinion is that the Shins are walking an extremely fine line of human trafficking. Do y'all remember that live where she said that? And the judge says that that's going, yeah, the jury could find that as her stating it as fact. Knowing that Miranda's parents are coming, 7M suddenly sends Miranda and James on a trip. I remember her talking about that. The judge says, yeah, you stated that as specific. This one's interesting. In discovery, my legal team could subpoena all the bank records, their taxes, the management contracts, the pay stubs, and all the social media and email activity that is not legal, blah, blah, blah. And then the judge actually says she does not make any factual statements about plaintiffs in her caption. As such, summary judgment is appropriate on this allegation. That's kind of funny because it says in discovery, my legal team can subpoena all their bank accounts, the bank records, their taxes and management contracts, the pay stubs, and all the social media and email accounts assigned to any member. And then the judge says, Katie does not make any factual statements. Another one that the jury will not see is that 7M controls clients' bank accounts. But let's keep in mind, there are so many other statements. Oh, I understand that internet outage, Purple Dragon. There are so many statements that will be going in that are duplicate. So a lot of these, just because, they're not letting this one in about 7M controls their bank accounts. They talked about that in deposition. I know there's somewhere where they can actually prove that Katie said it as a fact. So, then they'll just amend. The fact that they have this opportunity to amend is just, to me, it's just amazing. And maybe that's very standard, and I'm just overreacting. I don't know. Now you might understand why Miranda isn't talking to her parents. Hannah controls her every move. That one's going. Katie Joy is aware of where the money came from, but we would like 7M to share where the money came from, which is what you remember she's talking about buying the Bentley. And then the judge says, because it's not factual, summary judgment is appropriate on this. So, that's not going to go to the jury. This next one, dancers are still living in church community housing and they will share their lives, both in work and personally. Keto cycle they'll hear about. Remember how Katie said getting sued is like a badge of honor at this point? The judge says, that's something the jury doesn't, won't hear because summary judgment is appropriate on this allegation. Because in this post, Katie reposts a post allegedly from 7M in which 7M speaks about her. None of these statements are facts that could be considered defamatory against plaintiffs. I have never contacted Miranda or James. That's not going to jury. Who cares? Why does that matter at this point, right? Allegations alleges that one of 7M's clients is stealing money from a fundraiser he runs to help Ukraine. That was, involving Vic. Summary judgment was appropriate on that allegation. The hashtags are simply rhetoric and cannot be viewed as factual statements on that post. That's interesting. Alleges a video posted by one of 7M's clients is a recruiting tool for the 7M cult. That one, summary judgment is appropriate, so won't go to the jury. Robertson's next door neighbors are moving. I'm hearing that people have been driving by a lot, blah, blah, blah. Katie makes no factual statements there. Okay, so that's it. Do you see how the ones that are underlined are in gold? Those are the ones that the judge is like, yeah, okay. But then you got the ones that are outlined in gold. Those are the ones where they get to go back and can amend if they want to. And the blue box is all the ones the judge is like, yep, staying the same. Jury's going to see this. Hey, Ambrielle, how are you? It's okay that you finally caught alive. We're wrapping it up, but this motion, Katie, and the way that she does things. Y'all, sorry, my dog's drinking water. The way that Katie says, normally does things. By the looks of it, this could look like this, but both of these motions were a big win for Katie Joy. This one is not. When I first saw it, I thought it was. It's not. The motion, for injunctive relief or a temporary injunction, that was denied. So that is kind of a win when you look at it for Katie, but it's not surprising. It sucks, but the judge says I cannot take away her free speech, and this is not until after we've got to get through this litigation pretty much, and I just can't do it. Remaining claims. Okay, this is good too, y'all, because listen, all of these numbers that we just went through, all those statements, that's all under the first claim in this lawsuit. There are 8 total. So the judge says, defendants, so Katie further requests that the court reconsider its ruling on 7M's claims for tortious interference and negligence per se. However, Katie simply reiterates previous arguments that the court previously found to be unpersuasive in her original motion for summary judgment. The court does not find that its prior rulings on the remaining claims were palpably wrong. So, all of the other counts, what did I say earlier? Did I say count? Or did I say something different? I'm getting hungry and I've been on here way too long. There's 8 counts. Okay. All these statements that we saw are under count 1. The other counts, judge says, nope, I'm sticking with my ruling. So anything regarding that, for instance, like negligence per se, tortious interference, all that still going to the jury. None of that changes. It is unclear from the motion which outstanding discovery issues Katie claims have not been addressed. That's another big situation. Because they even said, file a motion to compel. Why isn't there a motion? So the judge isn't aware of it. And what Katie was specifying was 7M's already produced it. And the judge says this issue will be addressed at the hearing currently scheduled for December 31st. So as you can see right here, all of these numbers, this looks like a win for Katie until you read the motion. And then it says, in all other respects, defendant's motion for reconsideration is denied. Plaintiff's motion for reconsideration is granted in part. Summary judgment is granted in favor for defendants on count 1 with respect to all these statement numbers. This does not hurt 7M. If they were like, yep, can't go to the jury, that could be it. That could. So, and the statements are said in the live stream. 7M is going to amend because they're going to want the jury to hear what Katie had to say in those live streams. The hashtag should be taken seriously, in my opinion. They are. This judge has made it clear. She's made it clear in here. She's made it clear in the first ruling. And what she was saying in this one is, she didn't even address the hashtag. Oh my gosh. She didn't even address the hashtag situation really in here, except for this one statement, for one thing, which Katie was talking about the quote unquote black dancers and that Robert Shin is racist. The judge referenced a hashtag to that one. But where the judge addresses the hashtag situation in the original motion, in the original order, I'm sorry. That hasn't been changed. That applies down here where it says all other respects, defendant's motion for reconsideration is denied. And I said at the very beginning that the judge said, basically they're walking a fine line with this because they pretty much just, all they did in this motion to reconsider was pretty much just re-argue their original motion. And that is a big no-no. And the judge pointed it out at the beginning of this order. Then we see all of the statements that 7M says are defamatory. And then we see where, 7M now, you know what I'm saying? God, y'all, my brain. It's time for me to get off of here. Now I'm getting sidetracked. Ooh, Mama T and Purple Dragon. What community is that in? What chats are y'all going to be in? I'm only in certain communities in their chats and stuff, and it's not the same ones that y'all are in. I'm in, ones that are just like, of course, y'all still see me in like Flava and all that. And the thing with that, anybody that follows that knows that there's been a divide in that community. And I don't have a stance on that either way. I truly don't. And so I don't want anybody to feel that if they support one, but they see me in somebody else's chat, that I would automatically be like, oh, no, you support the other person, because I don't care. I don't have a say on either way. You will see me in one chat more than another. And but I don't want anybody to think that they can't come in here if they're seen in the other chats. I don't give a shit. I do not care. I have zero feelings either way. I mean, I have my own personal feelings for my own personal reason, but I have no dog in that fight, right? And it sucks that there was a divide. A bunch of drama. You're right, Mama T. That's why it's a drama community, right? Yeah, she at the wrecking ball. It's gonna have a crappy New Year's Eve, right? I mean, she has that. Yeah, the hearing is at 9 a.m. It's yep, drama. There's drama in every community. I'm in another one too that I watched. So I'm like, man, it's imploding. Same thing. They're all turning on each other. They're all putting out their, private messages. Yep, Cheryl. Yep. Yep. I know what you meant. I mean, because um I've supported both of them in the past, and they've done nothing to me personally, right? And not just them, the other ones too that still go live or whatnot. There is one that I do not care for, and I'm sure y'all know, but you'll see me in chats, and if they're supporters of Jenny or they're supporters of Flava, I don't care, because neither one of them has done anything to me personally, and that was my whole thing. So I was staying out of chats, and then it just gets you know what the problem is, honestly, more so than the creator, in my opinion, in this, are the people in chat. It just becomes uncomfortable. It becomes uncomfortable if they know that you're over in another chat. What do you watch at night? Oh, that's so Mama T, you're agreeing with what Cheryl's saying? Who's going to be live tonight? Because Flava's in Nashville. I hope she's having so much fun. I hope her daughter had a wonderful 21st birthday. I refuse to take sides too. Now, if you're going to do something against me and come at me, if there's something that was done to me personally, that's a different issue. The shit that happened to me a couple of years ago, that's a totally different situation, right? And both of these people that we're talking about, they both had my back. They had my back, right? So, but they've never done anything to me. I worry about one, I care about one, I worry about the other, care about the other, the third one, the fourth, whatever. Oh, you did, Captain Katie? You can tell me in here what it was, because I probably won't see it. That whole community, that whole thing, I came in, you don't watch it, you didn't watch any of it. I don't know which one you're referring to, Cheryl, but that whole thing with the Gabby Jacobson stuff, I came into it completely unbiased. So I see it a lot differently because I was never under someone's spell, so to speak. Like I wasn't a fan of somebody for so long that I'm going to listen to everything they say. So I was so, I could see it so objectively. Like I didn't and I see things so different. And I stand on it. I do. I stand on it. Who are y'all who are you I'm missing? But Cheryl and you can't stand watching, is it the Gabby stuff? Yeah. I have to say though, like Flava entertains me. She makes me laugh. She does. That's why I was glad to see Luke in here. Because I don't know, but I don't care. I don't know what his stance is. I don't care what his stance is. He's my buddy. I support Luke until Luke does something shitty to me. I support all y'all until you do something crappy to me. And like the grammar thing the other day, what upset me the most about that, and then I'm ending it. What upset me about that is that person had been in my comments under a video that I did to correct me. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, okay, thank you. Right. Then they corrected me again. And I said, okay, well, thanks, but apparently I don't give a shit that much because whatever, it didn't register. I'm going to make mistakes. And then we did some little back and forth, even though this person was to say whatever. And my recollection, we had a little bit of back and forth about it. And I finally was like, okay, I felt like you were attacking me. I'll drop it. And I dropped it, right? And I think they dropped it. So in my opinion, it was squashed, right? We talked about it. I could have blocked them early on. I didn't because why? I could have, because eventually she was like, no, I'm a supporter of you. I'm a supporter of you. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I felt attacked. If you're a supporter of me, maybe I read it wrong. Then they come in my chat to correct me. And that's when I lost my shit, y'all. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. No. Then I made a post about it because I felt kind of bad. I don't like yelling people. No, I don't. I felt kind of bad because the last thing she said was, no, I love Southern Mutton. I'm a supporter. Well, you show your love very funny. But if you are a supporter, I just want you to know that, whatever, like I take criticism very well. I think there's people in here in my chat that know that I do take constructive criticism well. I appreciate it. I welcome it. I like those conversations. But when we squash it, and I think it's squashed, then you're going to come in here 2 hours later. I've just read all kinds of stuff and I've given all kinds of information. My brain is tired and you're going to tell me I'm wrong. Oh, Nookie. Oh, okay. You tagged me. Okay, Goose. If you're talking about Katie's um hearing on the 31st, no. That from gosh, it was May of 23, May of 22, because it was it was a hearing with the new judge to kind of catch up on stuff. They said no. Because of what happened with the attorneys that were streaming it. Yep, that's exactly how I felt, Cheryl. And that's what was upsetting to me. That's exactly how I felt. And it's wrong. I shouldn't have, none of us should have to feel that way. And then sometimes I fall out of the bushes, The judge already ruled on that. I mean, if people want to, say, hey, look, this is, a public interest. Now, are you talking about the trial or this hearing? I don't know what will happen with the trial. I almost said something I shouldn't say. I don't know what's going to happen with the trial. I don't know. If it's like, if it's like everything else, then no, it won't be. But that would be something that people could say this is of public, interest. The hearing on New Year's Eve. Yeah, I mean, I can get the transcript from that, but it's very expensive. And I just don't know if it's worth putting the money into that at this point, at the stage of this. The trial should absolutely be, but so should this here. Yeah, I mean, the judge said okay, and it was actually 7M. I need to go look at I was in that hearing because I was on Zoom. I was in that hearing. I took notes. I need to go look the notes that I wrote if I can read my handwriting. About who requested it, and I'm in my mind, I'm certain that it was 7M. One of the transcripts, the last transcript I looked at for the October 17th hearing that I inquired about was like $250. And it wasn't that long of a hearing. If this goes to trial, I think there'll be a lot of people that, might try to request that, look, this is of public interest, and the judge might be willing to hear that. I don't know. Yeah, it is a lot. And I don't mind, if it's going to like do something big, like really put like really show something big against Katie Joy, and I know it, I wouldn't mind. But just because we want to know like what the judge said, you know, it would be a great hearing to attend. But I'm a Texas girl and she lives in Minnesota. I wouldn't even be able to make it to that damn courthouse. I wouldn't make it from whatever form of transportation I got there. I would not be able to get out of that vehicle or whatever it is to walk into the courthouse. But that's why I'm hoping that the trial is not in the winter. Thank you, Cheryl. I'm running out of here too. I've gone on way too long. It's 4:30. I don't know if Charlotte's live at this point. I didn't get a notification, so I don't know. And then I just keep rambling. Usually I used to get notifications. I don't get notifications for any of my stuff anymore. And so if you're not getting notifications, unsub, resub. That's what I'm going to do to some of the people now. See if I can get that going. But you guys have a wonderful day. I hope this answered some questions. This is not a win for Katie Joy, no matter what she says. In fact, I think this is good for 7M. I think this is on the surface, it looks good for Katie Joy. Now, the motion being denied, the motion for temporary injunction being denied, that is a win for Katie Joy. We can admit that, okay? But it's not surprising. It's not. But Katie hasn't said anything. Katie has not said anything as of yet. My guess is Friday night within her drinking window, because she always gives it a couple days and then she can't handle it anymore. And then she just busts when she's drunk, right? When she's drinking. So I was telling somebody, I was making a bet that either tonight, but more than likely, I think it's going to be tomorrow night in her drinking window. So we'll see. If so, I'll talk about it, right? All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys so much. And I will see you on the next one. Unless something's filed, unless Katie Joy does something crazy, you will not see me until the new year. If that's the case, have wonderful holidays. A happy and safe New Year's Eve. Something's telling me I'm going to see y'all before then, though. I didn't think I was going to be here today doing this. You guys have a great day. I'll see some of y'all in chat later. I'm pretty sure I will. Thanks, y'all.